My boyfriend took my dog Max out for a walk and lost him. Yet he looked completely unfazed. Max suddenly bit me, and he declared we couldn't keep him, leading to a huge argument. Suddenly, I saw the live comments, saying the second female lead's dog had been given to a blind person by the male lead, to be used as a guide dog, and was about to be hit by a car and killed. I was so anxious. If only the second female lead could see the live comments, she'd know to rush to Willow Creek Park South entrance. Damn it, if this were just any romance novel, I'd ship them without a second thought. Giving away Max, who someone else had raised with so much effort. The male lead is a monster. No, Max can't leave his mom. I immediately grabbed my car keys and dashed out. Who says the live comments are all insightful? I think there are still plenty of good people there. There are countless amazing, high-quality romance novels out there. Freeloaders, you get half of this one. Full story available now. The exciting tale begins. Vivian, where are you going? Get back here. I dashed out so fast that by the time my boyfriend Benjamin caught up to me, the elevator had already started moving. I heard him yelling frantically from outside. Fine, our years together mean less to you than a pet. If you leave, don't you dare come back. Initially, I had some doubts about the authenticity of the live comments, but hearing him say that, I instantly knew they were true. After all, he usually called himself Max's dad, and just yesterday, he claimed an emergency surgery prevented him from celebrating my birthday. He held Max, looking like a loving dad and his devoted pet, and said, "Max, Dad made Mom angry. You're special, so tell Mom to talk to me, okay? Otherwise, Dad will have to sleep on the sofa tonight. It's so cold and miserable. What if I freeze to death?" Max was an incredibly smart dog. The moment he heard his dad say that, he immediately let out a whine that showed he felt deeply for him, wagging his tail and resting his head on my lap, pleading on his behalf. His two dark, round eyes looked as if he were the one who had done something wrong. Thinking back now, tears welled up in my eyes. Max usually trusted and relied on Benjamin so much, yet he could utter words like, "It's just a pet." If he wasn't feeling guilty and defensive, why would he drop the act completely? I just couldn't understand why he, who had always been so gentle and considerate with me, would suddenly change like this. Why did the second female lead drive off? The plot isn't following the original story. Right, shouldn't she have had a huge fight with the male lead first, making him angry enough to go find the female lead? The live comments gave me the answer. It turned out I was just cannon fodder in a romance and redemption novel. Benjamin was the male lead, and a girl named Lily was his true female lead. Lily was his patient, suffering from an acquired eye condition. She was pure-looking, with a tragic background, made blind due to her family's preference for sons. She had nowhere to turn, so whenever she had an appointment, she would confide in Benjamin, her attending physician. Benjamin moved from pity to felt deeply for her, then developed feelings, gradually becoming a presence in her life, acting as her protector, helping her solve various problems, and wholeheartedly wanting to save this melancholic and beautiful girl, becoming her a beacon of hope. As for me, his official girlfriend, he would brush me off whenever he could. His so-called emergency surgery yesterday was nothing more than Lily accidentally cutting her hand while slicing fruit. He rushed her to the hospital to treat a wound that would have healed on its own. At the hospital, Benjamin received the video I took of Max barking happy birthday for him, and Lily kept praising how cute Max was, saying she loved him. Finally, with teary eyes, she said, "If I could have a dog like Max by my side, I can't imagine how happy I'd be. Dr. Benjamin, do I not deserve to have a dog like this ever?" Her single sentence made Benjamin determined to steal my dog. He used the excuse of taking Max for a walk to give him to Lily, then came back and lied that Max was lost. I suppressed my rage and drove like a maniac. Max's mom passed away early. I fed him spoonful by spoonful with a syringe as a puppy. In my heart, next to my parents, he was the most important. Benjamin knew exactly what he meant to me. It was unforgivable. The moment I drove to the south entrance of Willow Creek Park, I saw Max. He was being dragged by Lily, who was wearing a simple, elegant outfit, forcibly pulled toward the road. Max was a border collie, with no guide dog training whatsoever, and completely unsuitable to be one. He was merely stumbling, resisting as Lily dragged him along. His eyes darted around, anxious and helpless. He was very smart. He probably realized his dad had given him away but couldn't understand why. His face was filled with disappointment and longing, and his mouth was opening and closing as if muttering something. Although I couldn't hear him from afar, I could tell he was calling Mom. He always called me that when he was being affectionate, scared, or happy. I yearned to rush over and hold him tightly in my arms. But the live comment stopped me. Second female lead, don't go down. A big truck is coming soon. If Max sees you and rushes over, and the female lead is slow to let go, they'll both get hit. Although I didn't understand why the second female lead suddenly appeared here. According to the original plot, the female lead insisted on dragging Max across the road. Max would see the big truck coming and try to run, but she would stubbornly stand still. Max, unable to break free from his leash, would also be hit and killed. Just hearing them describe it made my heart pound. As if Max was already lying on the ground mangled beyond recognition. I quickly yelled, asking which direction the truck was coming from. The live comments paused for a moment, then instantly scrolled. She can see us. This is great. We're saved. Max is saved. The truck is coming from the opposite direction. You have 5 minutes before Max is dragged onto the road by the female lead. Hurry, hurry, hurry. I didn't dare waste a second. I immediately drove about 1 kilometer up the road and saw the big truck. I frantically honked my horn, made a U-turn, flashed my hazard lights at the truck, and slowly began to decelerate. The truck was carrying heavy cargo, making it difficult to stop quickly, but thankfully I warned him early. He gradually slowed down, and finally, less than half a meter from my car, I saw Lily, who had already dragged Max onto the road. Gritting my teeth, I slammed on the brakes. With a screech, the large truck behind me also came to a steady stop after lightly bumping my car's rear. I scrambled out of the car. Just as the live comments had said, Lily had stopped moving the moment she heard a car approaching, simply covering her ears with both hands and screaming loudly. Max was tightly tied by the leash looped around her arm, unable to escape. He could only lower his head and tuck his tail between his legs, looking utterly pathetic, resigned to his fate. I forcefully pushed away the still screaming Lily, snatched the leash, scooped Max into my arms, and ran to a safe spot on the side of the street. My palms were sweaty. I continuously stroked Max, saying, "It's okay, it's okay. Mom's here now." Max saw it was me and immediately whined, wagging his tail and licking my face. He burrowed his head into my embrace, his whimpering throat full of "Mommy, Mommy." Frank ran down from his truck, initially intending to scold me, but when he saw Lily sitting on the ground screaming, he turned his anger on her, cursing. "Are you crazy? Blocking the middle of the road while crossing? Are you trying to get yourself killed?" Suddenly he was shoved. Benjamin had arrived at some point, wearing a furious expression, gripping Frank's collar tightly. His eyes were dark as he threatened. "If you can't talk properly, shut up. Big man can't drive, only picks on young girls? You want to fight? Anytime." He looked fierce, full of protective instinct. Yet when he was with me, he never got into conflicts with others on my behalf. He always told me that the theory of backing down for peace was right, and that we should just ignore those who acted aggressively. It wasn't worth getting involved for people like that. Although I thought he had a point, deep down I still wished he would protect me. Only now did I realize his backing down had nothing to do with happiness, but everything to do with whether he liked someone or not. This time, for another girl, he didn't back down. And then Frank punched him in the face. The truck driver was strong and muscular. Benjamin, a spoiled rich kid, was no match and took several punches. The live comments were going crazy with laughter. "Ha ha 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 ha, he's not putting up with your nonsense." In the original plot, Max died, and the driver, feeling sorry, didn't bother with these two. Now that Max is safe, the driver finally has room to act. Lily huddled to the side, still screaming with her head in her hands. If she could see, she'd witness Benjamin getting beaten on the ground, completely losing his composure. I wonder if she'd feel as embarrassed as I did. However, they were blocking my car, so I couldn't drive away. I had no choice but to report to the police. It was only when the police arrived that the two men were separated. Benjamin didn't forget to display his supposed arrogant demeanor. He grimaced as he picked up Lily, then took off his jacket and draped it over her head, his voice gentle. "Don't worry, Lily, I'm here. No one will make fun of you." Only then did Lily, with teary eyes, tightly embrace Benjamin. "I'm not afraid of being laughed at. I'm only afraid of being killed by that dog and never seeing you again." Benjamin's face showed an expression of intense felt deeply for her. "I'm sorry. I only gave him to you for companionship, because I thought he was docile." His gaze hardened. "If I had known he almost harmed you, I wouldn't have let him off the hook." "No." Lily quickly shook her head, a picture of innocent kindness. "The dog is innocent. It's the person who trained him who's bad. Please don't blame him, okay?" After saying that, she seemed to realize something, covering her mouth. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean anything bad about your girlfriend. I misspoke." Benjamin eagerly interrupted her, tenderly stroking her head, his voice filled with concern. "You're the one who got hurt. You don't need to speak up for him. Since the dog turned out this way, she doesn't need to keep him anymore. I'll handle it." As he spoke, he instinctively began to search for the dog with his eyes, then saw me behind him, holding Max, watching them with a cold expression. Bewilderment flashed across Benjamin's face, and he instinctively loosened his grip on Lily. But he quickly composed himself. "You're here. The dog has been found." He maintained the same argumentative tone he used before I left, but when he looked at Lily, his voice unconsciously softened. "Thanks to my patient for keeping an eye out. You should come quickly and thank her." Max was being so disobedient, stopping in the middle of the road and refusing to move, almost causing an accident. "He's just a dog and can't speak, so as his owner, you should apologize." He was so calm, lying through his teeth. If it weren't for the live comments and my witnessing the entire incident, I truly would have been fooled by him. Lily, however, naturally tugged Benjamin's sleeve, her tone a playfully chiding one. "Come on, Dr. Benjamin, Vivian is still your girlfriend after all. Saying that about her in front of so many people will make her feel embarrassed." She turned her face toward me, her expression soft, but an almost imperceptible hint of provocation seeped from her vacant eyes. "But Vivian, training dogs to relieve themselves on the road is a very bad habit. I actually know a dog training facility. Why don't you let me take Max? I can help you train him to be well behaved. It would be good for all of us, wouldn't it?" Before I could even speak, Benjamin immediately nodded in approval. "Lily makes a good point. Max really does need proper training. Border Collies are very smart dogs, and if not trained properly, they can cause trouble. Even when I walk him, he runs off. He's been spoiled and almost caused someone harm." Lily, in a show of righteousness, reached out to snatch the leash from my hand. "Just let Lily help train the dog, so you don't have to worry about him later." I yanked the leash behind my back and slapped her hard across the face. Smack! "You despicable dog stealer, how dare you say such things?" My slap was powerful enough to instantly swell her cheek. She stared, wide-eyed in disbelief. Her first reaction wasn't anger or guilt, but to continuously scrutinize me up and down, as if she'd never truly seen me before. I knew she found me unfamiliar, as I was usually soft-spoken when with him. But who doesn't put on an act when they're in love? And how could I not find him unfamiliar? It was only because of the live comments that I finally saw what a terrible person he truly was. Lily screamed again, reaching out to shield Benjamin's face, and warned me in a drawn-out shriek. "You can't hit him." I slapped her again. "Try speaking to me in that fake, high-pitched voice one more time." I couldn't stand it a moment longer. All she did was stand there and shriek. "Were you a screaming banshee, or a screaming chicken?" With that, I slapped her once more. This slap was for Max. "You know perfectly well why you deserved it." "Enough." Benjamin finally snapped out of his shock and violently shoved me. "Lily, rub your eyes. Can't you see how she's bullying you? Do you have no conscience?" Pushed by him, I fell to the ground. Oh well, the police, who had been unable to intervene because everything happened so fast, along with Frank, who had been observing, and the surrounding crowd, all rushed forward. "What's going on here? Hitting a woman? Is he even a man?" Max also understood that his mom and dad were completely breaking up. He decisively pressed his body against me and roared furiously at his soon-to-be ex-owner. "Woof woof 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 woof." Benjamin, still playing the chivalrous protector, held Lily, looking like he was arguing with everyone. "Didn't you see he hit Lily first? Are you all blind?" A girl in the crowd scoffed. "Who knows if he was helping find a dog or stealing one? After all, your boyfriend was stolen by her too, wasn't he?" Another girl chimed in. "Exactly. If my boyfriend hugged another girl in the street and yelled at me, hitting you too would be letting you off easy. Surviving tomorrow would be a courtesy." Hearing this, Lily's face immediately flushed. She hesitantly pushed Benjamin away. "Dr. Benjamin, please don't bother with me anymore. I didn't realize that you're simply helping me up would be twisted by Vivian into me seducing you." Benjamin, looking stubborn and wronged, bowed towards me. "I'm sorry. It's my fault, Vivian. Please forgive me." I gave a cold laugh. "It takes two to tango. While you're despicable, Benjamin is a scumbag too. Neither of you needs to apologize. Just stay together. Don't inflict yourselves on others from now on." "Vivian." Benjamin was so furious that the veins on his forehead seemed ready to burst. He lunged towards me but was stopped by the police. "What are you doing now? If you hit anyone again, you're coming to the police station with me." At this point, Lily wiped her tears and suddenly said in a thin voice, Officer, I don't understand. Vivian was clearly the first one to hit me, so why aren't you taking her to the police station? Do you have some kind of private connection with her? I never thought I'd one day lament in a romance novel how terrible Oakhaven Estates truly was. The side characters in this book seemed so normal, which made me feel like the male and female leads were utterly insane. But the second female lead really did strike first, and it seemed like a heavy blow. What if the male and female leads refused to let it go? The officer's face was stern. Spreading rumors about the police carries legal responsibility. This is your first warning. However, Lily, believing she had found the officer's weakness, smirked, stuck out her tongue at the officer, and hid behind Benjamin. Benjamin also seized the opportunity to attack. Officer, Lily is right, she hit us first. My pushing her was merely self-defense. Look at the swelling on her face. I demand to go to the hospital for an injury report. And Lily was slapped. Do you know what kind of impact that could have on her eyes? He glared at me fiercely. If anything happens, you'll go to jail. And as for me, I could never be with a malicious woman like you again. We're over. I wasn't flustered at all and nodded, agreeing to the breakup. Then I looked at the somewhat troubled officer, whose eyes were filled with sympathy for me. However, officer, I'd like to settle this out of court with him. At that, Lily couldn't hold back anymore. She and Benjamin said in unison, You say settle this out of court and it's settle this out of court? Lily suddenly realized her tone was too aggressive. She coughed twice and reverted to a fragile, choked sob. Vivian, just because I'm blind, can you just trample on my self-esteem? I'm a person too. I have human rights. After saying that, she intentionally or unintentionally tugged on Benjamin's jacket again. Benjamin's heart melted, and his protective instincts flared again. Vivian, we have nothing to do with each other anymore. I won't go easy on you. Just you wait. Suddenly his voice cut off. I showed him my phone, which displayed a complaint letter I had already drafted, reporting him to his hospital for having a romantic relationship with a patient during their medical treatment. Attached were photos I had just taken of Lily throwing herself into Benjamin's arms and hugging him tightly, clearly showing their intimacy. The hospital Benjamin worked at was a regional medical center Benjamin's father had gone to great lengths to get him into through connections. It explicitly prohibited doctor-patient relationships, with penalties ranging from dismissal to license revocation. So the moment Benjamin saw the complaint letter, his face immediately went pale. He glared at me with reddened eyes for a long moment, his jaw muscles clenching repeatedly. Finally he reluctantly squeezed out, Officer, forget it. We'll settle this privately. Lily looked up in surprise, her voice trembling. Dr. Benjamin? Benjamin patted her reassuringly. Sweetie, your health is more important right now. I'm very worried about your eyes. We should go to the hospital as soon as possible, so I can give you a thorough checkup and put my mind at ease. Although Lily desperately didn't want to let me off the hook, hearing Benjamin's concern, a blush of shyness spread across her face. I know you're the best to me. Benjamin, as if regaining his masculine charm in front of me, put his arm around Lily and commanded me. Since we've broken up, who I'm with is my freedom. As my ex, you have no right to interfere with my relationships. Don't meddle in my work. Also, it's no longer appropriate for us to live together. I hope you'll pack your things and get out of my place before I bring Lily back. He only paid half the rent. So how did it become his place? He found it troublesome back then, so the contract was signed under my name. But I really didn't want to live there anymore. The thought of having cohabitated with him disgusted me. Of course, they shouldn't expect to live in peace either. I ignored Benjamin, got into the car with Max, and left immediately. I called a moving company to come with me to my rental apartment, and packed up all of Max's belongings, my own things, and everything I had paid for. Benjamin was a doctor, and usually didn't have time to furnish a home, so he would transfer money to me to purchase whatever was needed, from large furniture and electronics to his clothes and personal items. Fortunately, I had a backup plan. I made him add a note to every transfer stating it was an automatic gift. At the time, he unhappily asked if it was necessary, but now it seems absolutely essential. I had the moving company completely empty the place. It was bare to the walls. The live comments were all watching the show. Ha 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 ha, our second female lead has awakened. The male and female lead's luck has also been broken. According to the original plot, Max would have been hit and killed by the car. The male lead would have disposed of the body directly, then kept it a secret from the second female lead. Finally, the second female lead would be so heartbroken that she'd break up with him, making him seem like the victim. As a result, Less than 2 days after the breakup, he would bring the female lead back and live happily ever after in the house. Now, they won't live happily ever after. Only load-bearing walls are left. What a ripoff. I chuckled as I told them that previously, to save hassle, he would just transfer a year's worth of rent to me directly. I shook my phone. I told the landlord I wouldn't be staying after next month, and now the termination fee was paid with his money. Benjamin wouldn't have much time to find another affordable place close to his work, so he'd have to keep living there. I told the landlord that I was moving in a hurry and didn't have time to pack everything, so he could dispose of the items as he pleased. By the time Benjamin finally managed to furnish the place, he might not even be able to get through the door. The live comments burst into laughter. "You're amazing, our girl. That's how you deal with scumbags and despicable women." "They crossed my line, that's why." I stroked Max's little head. "Max can't leave his mom. If anyone dares to harm my child, I won't let them off the hook." It's a shame I didn't have concrete proof of him stealing the dog, otherwise I'd make sure he go to jail. However, I still followed the advice from the live comments and installed several hidden surveillance cameras. After all, after what I'd done, Benjamin definitely wouldn't let me off easily. He and Lily might plot some revenge, and knowing your enemy is key to never losing a battle. After doing all this, I submitted the complaint letter. It was hilarious. He actually believed I'd let it go. It seems my previous image of being gentle and tolerant had given him the wrong impression. I took Max to a 2-bedroom apartment I rented near the pet clinic I owned. Before, because I liked Benjamin, I rented a cramped compact apartment on Main Street for about the same price, and had to commute an hour to get to the clinic every day. It was truly uneconomical. Now, not only is my place spacious, but it's also lively and full of character. The local market is right outside my door, and local eateries are just a short walk away. The feeling of neighbors greeting each other is incredibly comforting. It felt as if my former infatuation with Benjamin, that desire to conquer the aloof doctor and make him show tenderness only to me, was like a blurred dream that scattered with the wind. This is the awakened protagonist. You've broken free from the plot the author set for you, and are heading towards a new life. From today, you are no longer a fictional character, Vivian, but our good friend, Vivian. Max also seemed to quickly recover from the depression of being betrayed by his former dad. He eagerly explored every corner of his new home, reverting to his playful self. He wagged his tail and brought me my tablet, which displayed a new tug toy he had found. "This guy seems to be enjoying it more than I am, ha ha ha. Didn't I realize Max had this personality before? Ah, Max must be comforting his mom in his own way. Max always knows who treats him best. Both the dog and the people are good." The live comments warmed my heart. Thank you all, it's so comforting. Just 2 hours later, my phone suddenly rang. It was Benjamin. I immediately dragged him into my blacklist. I didn't want any bad luck associated with my new life. Not long after, the police called me. "Is this Ms. Vivian? Someone has filed a report to the police, accusing you of theft. Please cooperate with us to explain the situation." I heard Benjamin shouting from the other end. "Are you crazy? I'm warning you, give me back all my stuff. Do you know how many files I have on that laptop? If they're lost, you'll go to jail." I calmly replied, "Officer, everything I took was purchased by me, including his laptop. Just because I lent it to him for free, it becomes his? I have all the purchase records and receipts for everything. If needed, I can provide them all. Moreover, since my voice grew louder and he's slandering me like this, I will sue him for insult and defamation. When the evidence is solid, he'll have to accept the penalty. Don't claim injustice. Do you need me to come over right now?" The other end fell silent. Then the officer's somewhat angry voice came through. "Is what he's saying true? If it is, they can easily sue you." "Benjamin, the officer reiterated. "Furthermore, if you don't have substantial evidence to prove theft, and your report to the police is driven by subjective retaliation, that constitutes wasting police resources. Are you sure you want to proceed?" Benjamin was completely speechless. After hanging up, I immediately opened my surveillance app and saw that the police had already left. Benjamin stood stiffly in the empty living room, Lily clinging to his arm, rubbing his back. "Benjamin, don't be angry. Things can be bought again. It's not worth getting sick over it." She groped for Benjamin's face, holding it, and smiled sweetly, tilting her head. "It's okay. Just having a place to live is already wonderful. I'm so grateful to you. After all, in my old home, I could only sleep in the bathroom." Oh right, Lily's family truly favored sons over daughters. Her 2 younger brothers slept in the bedrooms, while she could only sleep in a converted bathroom cubicle. Her brothers were quite cruel too. They seemed to pick on her because she couldn't see, even trying to feed her to dogs. That's why she was so desperate to cling to Benjamin, seeing him as her last hope. For those still trying to whitewash her, tell me, which redemption novel female lead doesn't have a tragic past? But that doesn't excuse her behavior. Given her background, I can understand she has character flaws, but flaws and malice are two different concepts. The live comments didn't show any sympathy for her due to her family situation, but Benjamin was absolutely heartbroken. He held Lily tightly in his arms. "Don't worry, my home is your home now." He took out a debit card and handed it to Lily. "This is my savings from years of work. Buy whatever the house needs, buy whatever you want." Benjamin gazed at Lily enchanted. "Lily, do you know? I've always dreamed of having my own little My Financial Planner. Only the most wonderful girl deserves to have my debit card." Lily shyly bit her lip. "Didn't Vivian ever manage your finances?" Benjamin scoffed. "That dog was like his real dad. And a woman like her isn't worthy. From the start, I told her to get rid of that wretched dog, but what did she say? She said that dog was her most important family member besides Benjamin's father and mother. Like she was crazy. I've never seen anyone compare a monster to a human in my life." I remembered. When Benjamin and I first started dating, he did have some issues with Max. But he only said, "Sweetheart, dogs carry many germs, especially bad for girls. I don't want you to be in danger every day. How about we find him a good home?" At the time, I just thought it was his professional habit, so I reassured him that I regularly had Max dewormed and bathed, so there was no need to worry. Later, when he brought up adoption again, I sternly told him directly that Max was one of my most important family members. And even if we broke up, I would never give him away. Seeing how firm I was, he never dared to bring it up again. Later, he even played very well with Max. Max was very smart. If he had been secretly unkind to him, Max wouldn't have bothered with him. What was the point of faking it to this extent? Soon, I would find out what he was after. "You really put in the effort, Benjamin." Lily felt deeply for, and I also thought, a dog is just a dog, right? Arguing with your boyfriend over him? Any woman who even slightly liked her boyfriend wouldn't do that. Her rather inflexible eyes suddenly shifted. I thought she had just been brainwashed by current media, where short videos portray all sorts of pets as children. Your ex-girlfriend might even have children for her dog someday. No, what outdated views. We don't have children because we're afraid of the pain or not being able to afford them. Not because of dogs, right? How could the female lead hate dogs so much? Then why did she try to snatch Max earlier? Jealousy, that's why. Didn't she say she wanted a guide dog as a child but her family wouldn't buy one and told her she didn't deserve it? So she snatched Max. If she couldn't have him, no one else could either. I could tell before that she deliberately stopped in the middle of the road to get Max hit. Her mind was already twisted. Humph. Benjamin scoffed. That's why I'd considered getting rid of that dog before. Every time I brought him treats, I'd try to feed him chocolate. My heart sank. Amidst the angry curses of monster. Pure monster from the live comments, rage surged to my head, but at the same time, I was incredibly relieved. Thankfully, from a very young age, I had trained Max not to eat anything dogs shouldn't. Too bad that dog was so cunning. He wouldn't eat any of it, and I couldn't force him. Benjamin's voice turned sinister. If I'd known this would happen, I should have just forced it into his mouth. Max hadn't eaten it, thankfully. I finally felt relieved, but also nearly lost my mind with anger. The live comments were right. The male and female leads can have character flaws, but they shouldn't be purely evil. The male lead's redemption shouldn't be a tool for a despicable relationship. They don't deserve to be the male and female leads. Benjamin's phone rang. He answered it, and suddenly his face went pale with shock. What? No, Director Miller, I can explain this. It's my ex-girlfriend, she definitely did it, she's framing me. Director Miller, you must believe me. He didn't finish before the call was cut off on the other end. He stood there, somewhat lost, gasping in anger. That despicable Vivian actually reported me. He turned to leave immediately. No, I need to go see his old man. He'll have a solution. I can't lose my job. Lily frantically grabbed Benjamin. But I can't see. I'll be scared here, Benjamin, please don't leave me. If you're hungry, order takeout. After saying that, he left without looking back. Lily stomped her foot angrily. Then seemed to remember she was now the mistress of the house. She happily hummed a tune, spun around, found a small stool, sat down, and began to shamelessly shop online using Benjamin's card. Wow, she really dared to buy a 100,000 sofa, a 50,000 refrigerator, a washer and dryer costing over 100,000. All that miscellaneous stuff added up to well over 300,000 to 400,000. Benjamin had only been working for 2.5 years. How much could his salary possibly be? I laughed. He had boasted that the house was his and told Lily to spend freely. The live comments also laughed. Haha, in the original plot, Benjamin wasn't reported, and his career kept rising under Benjamin's father's influence. Lily spending so much money was a sweet bonus point for their relationship. This time, Benjamin was torn to shreds by his old man. Even if he's not fired, promotion will be difficult. The live comments reminded me that Benjamin got into the hospital through his father's connections, so a single complaint letter probably wouldn't be enough to make him lose his job. I needed to think of another plan. Friends, watch Max for me. I'll be right back. Of course, I was going to find Lily. Regardless of whether Benjamin would be fired, he already knew I reported him. He would definitely retaliate furiously, most likely by using public opinion to attack my pet clinic and force me out of business. I had to prepare early, gather evidence, and occupy the moral high ground. Benjamin was very careless about practical matters. He didn't even know how to change the apartment door code. Of course, the series of blows had thrown him off balance, and he wasn't paying attention to me, so I very easily opened the rental apartment door. Lily thought Benjamin was back. She immediately called out, "Honey, you're back. How did things go with work?" I scoffed coldly. Honey was truly a seamless transition. He just broke up with me, and now he's already inseparable with Lily. Lily's face immediately changed. She crossed her arms, full of a victor's arrogance. "What are you doing here? This is my boyfriend's and my home. You have no right to enter." "Didn't he tell you I rented this place?" I shrugged. "Looks like you didn't do your research before becoming a mistress. Do you need me to show you the rental agreement? I can call security to kick you out anytime." "Oh really? Well, that's awfully nice of you then, paying for my boyfriend and me to rent this place. There's no dumber fool in the world than you." Of course, she didn't know that the termination fee and deposit had been paid with her boyfriend's money, but I wouldn't tell her. I wanted her to be as shameless as possible. I scoffed disdainfully. "A dog-stealing scumbag. I consider it money spent to avoid trouble. You're picking up my discarded trash. What's there to be proud of?" I looked around the apartment. "This place looks quite shabby. Benjamin just let you move into this?" Even the dog bed he prepared for Max before was more carefully chosen than this. Could it be that in his eyes you're not even as good as a dog? At that, it hit a nerve and Lily exploded. "Do you really think Benjamin liked your wretched dog? Do you think everyone's a pet fanatic like you?" A malicious smile appeared on her face. "You probably don't know this, but Benjamin absolutely despises dogs, especially yours. He found it disgusting every time he saw him. But he's different with me. I just have to cry a little, and he'll get me whatever I want, even a dog." My voice was low. "Why did you insist on having my dog? Do you know that if I hadn't arrived in time today, Max would have been killed? It would have been better if he died." Lily shrieked, as if venting her fury. "Do you have any idea how annoyed I was every time you sent him voice messages talking about Max? Max? He had so little time to spend with me, and he still had to be distracted by a dog. And do you have nothing better to do? Talking about one dog over and over. How much of his time did you waste? A shallow, selfish woman like you. What makes you deserve such a good boyfriend?" He twisted what were simply everyday moments shared between a couple into something petty and self-serving. Benjamin, that cheating jerk, was treasured by Lily, and she had been thoroughly trained to be submissive, overly eager to please men. But that had nothing to do with me. I just wanted to know. "So, you admit you deliberately tried to run over my dog?" He sneered. "Bring it here now, and it still won't deter me. I'll pay you 10 times its price. Benjamin is rich, he can afford it." In front of his blind eyes, I saved the entire surveillance video clip from my phone. I had already gotten what I wanted and couldn't be bothered to waste any more words on him, so I turned and left. Lily's back was ramrod straight, as if she had won a victory. As soon as I got home, the live comments brought me bad news. Benjamin hadn't been fired after all. Benjamin's father had supplied the hospital with a batch of unlicensed manufacturers' medical devices, and associate director had suppressed the matter. Benjamin was just chewed out and wouldn't be able to get a promotion for 2 years, that's all. Ugh, the male lead is still too resilient. Unlicensed devices, huh? That got me excited. I immediately called a well-known local expose TV station and anonymously provided a tip. It was the batch from April 30th, 2025, production number XXXXXXXXX, currently stored in the hospital's warehouse, with 2 units already in use. The live comments, from a god's eye view, were able to provide extremely detailed information. I hung up the phone and opened the surveillance app again. Benjamin was already home, looking very upset. Lily went up to him, her face full of feigned fragility, and told him that I had provoked him, insulted him, and trampled on him. Benjamin became even angrier. Fine, fine. I had originally considered our past connection, and wanted to avoid a messy scene, but since he's acting so despicable, I'll make sure he knows I'm not someone to be trifled with. The two of them schemed all night, and finally came up with what they considered a perfect plan. They decided to poison pets in the residential community, near my hospital. Since ours was the only pet hospital in that area, all the poisoned pets would be brought to us. They would then use online public opinion to defame me, claiming I deliberately poisoned animals for profit. Those anxious pet parents would absolutely tear me to shreds. Benjamin, Lily said, I think Max is really wasted with Vivian. Is there any way we can get him over here? Then I'll definitely teach him to go back to his crate on his own and promise not to cause you any trouble. Lily leaned into Benjamin's arms, raising her hand as if swearing an oath. She was still thinking of getting one up on me regarding the dog, seeing him become even more obedient than a dog. Benjamin's face showed a satisfied smile, like a trainer's. Idiot, that's easy, he said. He's already poisoned animals. He's definitely abusing Max too. Those dog lovers won't let him keep Max. Then it'll be a perfectly logical step for us to adopt him. Lily broke into a contented smile. Benjamin, she said, you're the best person in the world to me. Benjamin gazed at her charming face, his Adam's apple bobbing, and cupped her chin. I can be even better to you, he murmured. With that, he swept Lily into his arms, and they went into the bedroom. I exited the surveillance app. The live comments were already furious. This book is completely ruined, they raged. The male and female leads are absolute villains now. Can they be any more evil? Poisoning dogs? No, even in a novel, I don't want to see dogs die. What kind of worldview does the author have to create such male and female leads? Those who love trash have been blessed. I want to quit, but I can't bear to leave Vivian. Vivian, can you think of a way? Of course, I had to think of a way. For the live comments, this was just a book, but for me, this was real life. Whatever happened, I had to warn the nearby residents first. I thought for a moment, then patted Max. Max, play dead for mommy. Max immediately understood. My little one collapsed, mouth open as if unable to breathe. I used whip up some egg white foam and poured it near his mouth, snapping a few photos. I then edited to be a bit purple Max's tongue and mouth color, and posted it in the hospital's patient group. Everyone, please make sure your dogs wear muzzles when walking them recently. Someone is poisoning animals. The group immediately erupted. What's going on? Is Max okay? Oh my God, we already walk our dogs late at night on a leash. Who is so hateful that they want to wipe them out completely? May poisoners never have sons, and what if they themselves are heartless? My dog is very small, there's no suitable muzzle for him. Wah, my little one hasn't been found yet. And now there's poisoning outside. I might as well just cry myself to death. I replied. Don't worry, Max is fine. Then I tagged my little one and added, Parents, starting tonight, I plan to patrol the area to look for any suspicious individuals. Poisoners usually strike multiple times. If anyone at home has time, please come along. A parent replied, How, my dad is retired. I'll tell him to go. Hearing me say this, others in the group also responded enthusiastically. I'll go too. This can't wait. We'll all go, we're usually just idle anyway. This is a residential community with many elderly residents who own dogs, so when they showed up, the group instantly grew. I looked at the live comments. You can see Benjamin and Lily's every move, right? I'll leave it to you then. The live comments immediately understood. Haha, got it. As soon as they make a move, we'll arrange it. Benjamin and Lily were caught. They really were inexperienced, poisoning animals in the middle of the night, knowing that dog walkers in this area are out late. As soon as the live comments alerted me, I pretended someone had provided a tip and rushed with the elderly neighbors to the residential community where they were poisoning. They were surrounded tightly by the elderly neighbors and large dogs. Amidst the barks, Lily once again transformed into a screaming banshee, hiding behind Benjamin. The elderly neighbors, however, weren't putting up with her. Oh, now you have the nerve to scream? Why weren't you screaming when you were poisoning animals? One shouted. Everyone knows you're looking decent, but acting like trash. Why don't you act like decent human beings? And you're dating? What kind of monsters will the two of you produce? Scum. Scourge on society. Benjamin's face was as purple as a pig's liver. He probably had never been cursed at like that before. He tried to retort. Everyone has their own standards of judgment. What right do you have to curse me? You're the ones destroying lives. Utterly heartless. Did your parents teach you your standards of judgment? By your own logic, your parents are monsters. Why do you curse me? Because you're immoral. As a doctor, Benjamin was used to his patients never questioning him, and he had a well-rehearsed way of lecturing others. Unfortunately, the elderly neighbors weren't putting up with him. That's when I slowly stepped forward, feigning surprise. How can it be you too? Benjamin, cheating is one thing, but you're poisoning dogs too? I must have been blind to ever have been interested in you. The moment I finished speaking, the elderly neighbors immediately turned to me. Young lady, what's going on? One asked. Don't be shy if there's a story, we'll stand up for you. I sighed, pointing to Benjamin and Lily. Just a jerk and his mistress, nothing worth talking about. And so the two of them were cursed out again. Lily stopped screaming and started trying to play the victim again. Grandpas and grandmas, please don't curse me, she sobbed. Wah, I'm just a blind little girl. You're blind, so you should accumulate good karma, you morally corrupt person. Serves you right to be blind. And little girl? How little are you? My granddaughter knows how to care for animals. If she grew up to be a mistress, I'd beat her. What kind of victim are you playing? You're blind, and you're harming innocent animals. What would happen if you could see? In short, that day, Benjamin and Lily were completely socially ruined in that area. Their torn-to-shreds appearance was photographed by the elderly neighbors, printed as posters, and plastered with the large characters "dog poisoners" blatantly across the streets and throughout the residential community. Benjamin didn't dare to pursue the matter, because the elderly neighbors also threatened to cause a scene at his workplace. To keep his respectable job, he quickly dragged Lily away. Lily still felt somewhat wronged, but Benjamin snapped. Shut up. He harshly rebuked her, completely devoid of the tenderness they had shared moments before. Watching their pathetic figures walk away, I thought, your comeuppance is still coming. 2 weeks later, the exposé program about the unlicensed devices aired. A reporter, disguised as a patient, clearly exposed Benjamin's father providing substandard equipment to the hospital and associate director taking kickbacks. Later, Benjamin's father went to jail. The hospital thoroughly investigated the source. Benjamin's reported misconduct was fully revealed by the media, and he was dismissed for gross negligence and blacklisted by the industry. Benjamin lost his source of income, but he watched as Lily directed piece after piece of expensive furniture into their home. And text messages confirming charges upon delivery came in one after another. Benjamin then realized that his salary, which he hadn't spent, was almost gone. He gave Lily a hard slap, calling her a jinx and a money pit. He cursed. You think you're so precious, all gilded? Serves you right to be disowned by your parents. Lily couldn't believe it. The person who had always cherished her suddenly revealed his true colors. Possessive tendencies. With surprising strength, the blind woman actually pushed Benjamin, causing him to hit a table corner and become a vegetable. To escape legal punishment, Lily started live streaming to complain, claiming she had been deceived by Benjamin, subjected to domestic violence, forced to poison animals in the residential community, and so on. Using her blind identity, she garnered many tears and donations from onlookers. But before 2 days of streaming, an account suddenly tagged her. Are you ready for your lies to be exposed? That account then posted a video. It was a surveillance video clearly showing Lily's conversation with Benjamin at my home, her provocation of me, her threats to run over Max, and the two of them discussing the poisoning plan. Although her face was blurred, her high-pitched, sweet voice and habitual hair-tossing gesture were recognized by netizens 100%. Not only was Lily cursed until her account was banned, but she also incurred a huge breach of contract fee from the platform. As for whether she would pay the money first or go to jail first, that would be a long, drawn-out process. Even if she didn't go to jail, she would have to live under community supervision for the rest of her life, caring for the now vegetative Benjamin every day, changing his diapers and helping him with bodily functions. How is that not a twisted form of mutual salvation? Then one day, a strange account suddenly sent me a private message. It was Lily. She said, "Do you know that when Max was first brought to my house, my 2 younger brothers wanted to eat him? It was I who fought desperately to pull Max away. I know you might not believe me, but I want you to know the truth." I felt nothing inside and blocked her. So what? Perhaps human nature is complex. Perhaps in that moment, she felt a flicker of compassion. But after that, Didn't she still go onto the road intending to run over Max? So I'm more inclined to believe she just didn't want those two brothers to get their way. Being born into a mire is unfortunate, but what makes humans human is their ability to make choices that better themselves. For instance, I once had parents who named me Vivian. I chose to crawl my way out on my own and sever all ties with them. Now I'm Vivian, our good friend Vivian.